People hijacking the word black fatigue to describe their own inconvenience, to describe their own insecurities, to describe how uncomfortable they feel when they have to think about slavery, oppression, and discrimination that they benefit from. And that's not just tone deaf, it's violent. It recenters the conversation away from the people that are actually suffering and back onto the people that are causing the suffering or that are benefiting from the suffering. And then they get to act like they're the victims. That's exhausting in itself. Black people are tired of surviving racism. People are tired of hearing about it. Those are not the same thing. If your version of progress requires black silence, it's not progress. It's erasure. You're trying to erase the history. You're trying to rewrite the history books even further than they've already been rewritten.
Hey y'all, what's up? Good evening, motherfuckers. Welcome to my channel. This is Talk Your Ish Liz podcast, and I'm about to do part 2 on black fatigue. If you have not seen my first video, it talks about black fatigue. It refers to the cumulative physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion experienced by black people as a result of ongoing exposure to racism and discrimination. Okay, so we're going to talk about the impact of black fatigue. The first bullet point is mental health, increased risk of anxiety, depression, and other mental health conditions. Okay, bullet point number 2 focuses on the physical health. Chronic stress and weathering from racism can lead to physical health problems. I feel like that's not a good sign, but we all have it when dealing with black fatigue. Okay, now we're at bullet point number 3, emotional exhaustion. Feeling emotionally drained, frustrated, and hopeless. I know a lot of BLK people go through this on a regular basis. And if you did not know, these are signs of black fatigue. And last but not least, we have reduced well-being, overall diminished quality of life, and reduced sense of safety and belonging. Okay, what do you guys think about this so far? This is part 2. I have a part 3 coming later, but I just want to know what's your thoughts. Leave me a comment. Let's talk about it. And don't forget to hit the follow button. Toodle.
And now you wonder why I say blacks will continue failing, because we're just that ignorant. Welcome back to the Marc Perspective Show, where we're going to have real talk, okay? And we're going to talk about, this is Black Fatigue Part 2, because it seems like black people just don't get it. We just keep rewarding bad behavior. We just play ignorant. I don't know what it is. So, I would say that the majority of blacks, especially hardworking individuals who just want to live their life, and succeed and be comfortable. I want to say we're tired. We're not tired. And we're not talking about racism or injustice or systemic neglect. No, we're talking about other blacks who just keep using excuses to sabotage, our future, basically. I mean, we're getting tired of the victimhood narrative, always, the woe is me. We're tired of it, And I had to pull up some stats to show, the difference, where blacks stand, but like the difference between blacks and whites and where blacks stand at this moment. And right now, like for instance, high school graduation rate is 81% blacks versus 89% for white students. So I want you to see something. Black students and white students. Blacks are 81% to graduate. However, doesn't mean that you got it up here compared to 89% of white students. Now, white students should be concerned too, because they're not high like the Asians and so forth. Their graduation rate is very high. So, but once again, blacks are at the bottom. Dropout rate. We're talking about high school dropout. The dropout rate 4.6% for blacks versus 3.9% for white students. So blacks are dropping out more, less than half than white students, and not really far, 3.9 to 4.6. However, blacks lead in high school dropout. Now, when we talk about literacy challenges, 23% of black adults read below basic level. Okay, to most, that's pretty small. But when you're 13% population, that's a number that's very concerning. 23%. And prison population, 33% of U.S. prison population is black. Once again, when you are 13% of the population, 33% is a very high number. And when we talk about 30, the prison population, we're not talking about, what it's all combined. So that's from New York to California. It's all combined. And when you look at the numbers, it shows that 33% is in prison. So, and they're all black. So that's a problem. And when are we gonna get it? Okay. We have this thing where I don't know what it is that we always have to blame white people. I just played that video where this lady's talking about when you people brought us over here, and I'm like, they didn't. Okay, they didn't. Learn about the Arabs. They were the most brutal. They were slave owners and they were brutal. And blacks weren't kidnapped or stolen. They were traded. Okay. When I want to say it was Spaniards who came, got blacks through trade and so forth, and then brought them over to America. And the funny part is, in slavery, you would think that everybody had a slave. The way if you listen to liberal historians, you would think every white person had a slave. Well, the white people that did have slaves was, I want to say, maybe less than 2% or 2%. I don't know, but it wasn't the entire country. So we need to make that clear. And then second, there were black slave owners. So blacks had slaves. Just like right now, there are Africans who have slaves. And slavery didn't start because of racism. You have to be stupid to really believe that. Slavery started because of cheap labor, because that's a lot of work to do, picking cotton and tobacco and things like that. Who wants to do that and who wants to do that kind of work under the blistering sun? So slavery started because of cheap labor. The hatred for race then evolved after that. But slavery did not start because we're just racist and we're just going to go pick up. Because in America, they tried the Native Americans. They tried to get them to be slaves in Native America. But, the Native Americans, they knew the terrain. They did, but the white man was not going to go through there. Plus, they were some fighting bastards. They was not going down without a fight. So it was hard to get them, but they did other things like steal their land and war and all that stuff. But with the blacks, they were traded, so they were easy to get into chains and so forth. And then they shipped them over to America, where the people sold them. They sold the slaves for money and so forth, and then somebody bought them, and that was that. But the whole country, especially as America expanded, did not have slaves. So like I said, I believe it was 2% of Americans who had slaves. Now the Arabs were the worst ones by far. The Arabs, not only did they trade to have slaves, and then, when they got them, castrated the men, impregnated the women and so forth. But then when the African leaders wanted to stop trading with the Arabs, the Arabs then just came in there and just took what they felt was rightfully theirs. So, it's sad that, we don't know our history that well. To sit down and really believe that slavery started because of racism. I think I was watching something on CNN, and this lady who is a fitness trainer, she basically was like, "Hey man, you guys are you got this all wrong, and you're pegging everything on slavery, on this and that." And the black people on CNN, they started getting into this lady, and I hope I could find that video so you could see it. But it's really sad how we have not evolved. Black people have not evolved. We have been used for socialist period. I guess that we were the guinea pigs. They used us for a trial period to see how socialism would work in America. And when the Civil Rights Act passed, because Martin Luther King and all these others were basically communist, socialist, Marxist, they set blacks up for failure. They set us up. They got paid and they were living well while we were the guinea pigs. And they put us in redlining, so they put us in our own little area. And then it became the ghetto because, as black people, you give us handouts, so forth. We just don't want to do anything. Get fat, lazy, do drugs. We don't want to work. It was bad. And that was socialism, to see how we reacted when mostly all the women got a certain amount of money. And when they got this certain amount of money, they got comfortable. And they wanted to live off of that. Now, this was the government giving money, and I call that a trial period to see how well we would adapt to socialism. Because if we adapted well to socialism, then I could see them spreading it even more and eliminating capitalism. Liberals who idolize Marxist individuals like Stalin and all them, they really used blacks to see how well we would do under socialist ideology. And we failed miserably because we became not only dependent, but we became violent. And our children grow up and become violent. Look at DC right now. Teenagers robbing, stealing, killing, shooting. These are teenagers. They should be reading a book, get into some type of activity, but instead they're robbing, stealing, and we sit down and we'll say, but they're kids. They're violent children that need to be held accountable, and they're not. So, something has to be done.
Blacks tend to get shot by each other about 10 times as much as whites get shot by each other. Young black men in this country have an enormous homicide problem, a gun homicide problem. For males age 15 to 34, their death by gun homicide in 2022. Young black men died about 50, not 15, but 50 times more per capita by gunfire than young Asian men, 24 times more than young white men, and 6 times more than Hispanics. Is anybody out there asking young African Americans and telling them, if you guys could not get your homicide rate down to the Hispanic level, this country would be so much better off. Race relations would be so much better. But you're not supposed to put crime statistics like that in the newspaper. It's just considered racist to mention all these government
it's obviously
statistics.
not, reality is not racist.
Black people are only 13% of the population, yet they commit 55% of the murders. Why?
Because black people tend to be in lower economic statuses because of
Okay, no, this is
CRT,
fine. This is great.
Basically.
So you think that poverty equals crime?
I think that it's highly correlated, and there's a lot of studies on that.
This is where we disagree. What an insult to the working poor of this country.
So why do you think black people commit more crime,
Well, first
Charlie
of all,
Kirk?
so let me ask you a question as my answer.
Go on.
What percentage of blacks have a father around when they're raised?
I'm not sure.
20%.
So that's why you
80% of
think it
blacks
is.
do not have a stable father around. It is the most predictable way to end up in prison, end up as a murderer or a criminal.
And why
It's
do
not
you
a
think that's
racism
a problem?
It's not a white supremacy problem. It's a fact that black fathers impregnate women and they don't stay around with the women
And
that they have
why,
impregnated.
Charlie Kirk, do you think that happens more in the black community compared to others?
It's threefold. Number one, we subsidize single motherhood. Number two, it's culture. It's accepted in the black community, and it
so
shouldn't
it's
be.
culture. Okay.
Don't take my
I
word
see.
for it. Read Thomas Sowell's own book on how black culture allows single motherhood to continue into a nanny state type practice. 75% of black youth are raised without a father in the home. 75%. Is that a bigger problem or not a bigger problem than whiteness, white privilege, or white supremacy?
Most of these guys are emotionally responsive black men who can't deal with hurt, who can't think past anger. So they become like children and become impulsive because you made them feel uncomfortable or you hurt their feelings. And they get angry because they don't know how to deal with hurt. They don't know how to process hurt. Their mothers used to tell him, "Shut up, boy, quit crying." And she never talked to him about why she whooped him. He never had a voice in his household. Mama hollered at him, "Shut your goddamn ass up! Sit your motherfucking ass down somewhere!" He never got to express himself as a kid. So he learned to use anger as a smokescreen. Most of the niggas who killing somebody, killing their mother or their father in spirit and in mind. It's called displaced anger. Half these niggas, if they took anger management classes and had some follow-up treatment to deal with their anger from their childhood trauma, they wouldn't hurt nobody but themselves. They'll get high all day. But since they ain't got no therapy and they ain't got no treatment, and these niggas hadn't had no help, they hadn't been able to process no trauma that they gone through in their life. So hurt people. These niggas ain't trying to get no trophy.
So I brought up some other statistics to prove my point on why we are failing. So I talked about the high school graduation rate, dropout rate, and so forth, adult literacy. Let's talk about college completion, which is only 28% of black adults hold a bachelor's degree versus 42% of white adults. Okay. Unemployment rate historically 2 times higher than white Americans. The wealth gap, median black household wealth is just $24,000, while $888,000 for white household. And we're not talking about the millions where a lot of blacks think, but that wealth gap is huge. And there's no reason why blacks could not improve on that wealth gap, but because we've been so what's the word I'm looking for? We've been so brainwashed into believing that, we need the government's help, that we don't take the initiative to start on, to really grow our wealth by start creating those businesses, getting great paying jobs and so forth. We have our hands out. We play victim. We have our hands out and expect to be given. And that's how we are failing. I guess, let's see. Also, abortion statistics for black women, why the population is so stagnant is not only because we're killing ourselves, a black person age 0 to 35, the number one cause of death is homicide. So that's one, but also abortion statistics. So non-Hispanic black women have an abortion rate at 28.6%, while Hispanic women are at 12.3%, non-Hispanic white women at 6.4%, and other races 9.2%. And black women have the highest abortion rate in the U.S. And if you think about it, like I said, non-Hispanic white women are 6.4%, while non-Hispanic black women are at 28.6%. That's more than 4 times, that is more than 4 times than non-Hispanic white women. And we have to ask ourselves, why is it that blacks are having so much abortions? Because we're not being raised. And I was a part of the abortion, the sleeping with women, and just, to me at that time it was just normal. But now as I've educated myself and have grown and realized that what I, along with many others, have been doing was wrong, and it's causing more women to have abortions, and it's really crazy. Let's see here. Let's see, black-owned business. So that's what I wanted to look at. So total black-owned business in 2024 was 3.5 million, which that's huge. Employer firms with paid staff, 195,000, only 3% of all U.S. firms. So share of gross revenue, just 1% of total U.S. business revenue. Yikes. Business failure challenges, 45% dipped into personal savings to stay afloat. And we're talking, these are black-owned businesses. Loan deny rate, 57% of black entrepreneurs denied bank loans at least once. Now, I know they're going to say that's because of systemic racism and so forth, but it actually has to do with collateral. Like, when you go in for a loan for that large amount, they need to know if you have some type of collateral or something like that, because you're going to a bank asking for a loan and you can't go in there and have nothing to back it up. You need to have some type of collateral. Most blacks do not have collateral, whereas 57% of black entrepreneurs are denied bank loans. Let's see. Lack of mentorship and so forth. I get all that, but this is just to show you that we are struggling big time. Fortune 500 representation. So think about it. There are, in 2025, 8 black CEOs. That's in Fortune 500. And that's high. That's the highest ever. 8. And it's still less than 2%. Still less than 2%. And at one time I did a video where I said I would love to see more black CEOs in the airline industry. The airline industry, I really have not seen any black CEOs, and I wish many would take a chance, but they need to not be selected due to DEI or affirmative act. They shouldn't be selected for that. They should be selected because they qualify. They are the best qualified candidate. And I hope to see more black CEOs in the airline industry. Right now, I've seen none. And if there is one, please let me know. But at this moment, I have not seen any black CEOs in the airline industry. So that's something that needs to be worked on. But, once again, like I said, and you heard from others, why they feel that why blacks are committing so much crime and so forth. And it's because, yes, our emotions, we don't know how to control it, and Charleston White is right. Blacks, when they grow up in single family homes, and especially when you're growing up with a mom who's a hood rat, you see it in the streets when the way they talk to those kids, shut the F up, this and that, just really nasty. And these kids grow up with that kind of mentality. And this is why we are failing. And so people cannot take it anymore. They can't take the attitude. They can't take the ignorance. The we're rude, we're disrespectful, and black women, they walk in, they look angry, they like they're ready to kill somebody. Black men they're violent, they're robbing, stealing, shooting, and it kills me and their behavior, especially when the police come around. They commit a crime, the police come and to apprehend them, and you see their behavior. Don't touch me, blah blah, get off of me, leave me alone. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's really sad. And this is why I say black people will fail. And by 2065, when we fall to fourth in population, because the Asian Americans will be 14%, because they're not aborting their babies like we do, and they're not shooting and killing like we do. And, we love shooting and killing each other because I guess we feel more comfortable shooting and killing each other. However, we are failing. We're going to fall in population. We're failing in every metric. And the only thing we do is still sit down, have our hands up, and listen to these fake, phony black leaders. The ones like the Tariq Nasheed Tariq, whatever his name is, that Reverend Al Sharpton. And I don't even know if he's a reverend. I think he's a fake one. The Michael Eric Dysons, the Mark Lamont Hill, the Roland Martin. These people are out for themselves. They're living very well. They're living in a comfortable home while you are sitting down with your hands out, hoping that the government will give you some money instead of empowering yourself to go out and do, like I said, for oneself. Empower yourself to go out there and achieve, succeed. You see something, this is yours. You know you can obtain that. If it is getting your bachelor's degree, being a manager at a whatever company, something. Have that mindset to believe in yourself and to go get it. And don't listen to others tell you that the white man is holding you back and oppression and this and that. These fools like Mark Lamont Hill and all of them, they sit there and tell you that, always screaming racism for every little thing, yet the same people that they collaborate with so that they can get their money are white people, and they live very well. So stop listening to them and start listening to yourself. Take a look in the mirror and say to yourself, I can do this. I'm educated and I can go out there and be successful. Okay? And stop believing in this stuff that you'll never make it. Because if you keep believing in that, you won't make it.
I keep seeing white people are oppressing black people. Black people are so oppressed here in America. And the more I think about it, the less sense it makes. Because I know plenty of black people, and they are not oppressed. I know plenty of white people. They're not oppressive. And I, 32 years on this planet, have yet to be oppressed by a white person. And I've been black most of my entire life. And I know you're all about to ask, what do you mean by most? Y'all know when a baby comes out and he's just not the exact color that he's supposed to be yet. Shut up. You know what I mean? Who's doing all this oppressing? Because it's not white folks. Not a single white person that I've ever met or come across has oppressed me enough for me to feel bad enough to blame them for my disadvantages or me not being able to do something. I grew up taking accountability. You can't just go around claiming everybody's oppressing you if you're the one oppressing yourself. In the black community, there's no oppression coming from white people. It's coming from other black people. That's right. Now wrap your head around that shit.
Debate and say, hey, I'd like to get a loan. They would say no to you?
More than I have tried to get a loan a couple of times, and I had all of the qualifications that they asked me for,
and they
made me jump through a million hoops.
Right.
And then other people that I know that's not of the same ethnicity as myself, they can go in there and get a loan. I was about to pay him to go get a loan for me.
But so do they? So they didn't let you have it because you were black?
I believe that's the reason.
You believe the same thing?
We go through a lot of things with that. Our eyes are open now to a lot of things we may not have saw before. So little things like that we recognize.
Is it possible that due to your anger toward them that you may be living in an illusion?
Who has
we
anger
don't have,
towards
It has nothing to do to color?
We don't have any anger towards
we're
anyone.
not angry people.
All we trying to do...
Who are not angry people?
We're not angry
people. Oh, you
people.
two are not?
Yeah.
Oh, but everybody else in them.
No, I'm not saying everyone is. I'm just saying, that's a lot of the stereotypes we get.
So you don't think that our people is under oppression?
Not because of the white man.
Oh, you don't? Who rules in the world right now?
They are under oppression because they have hatred in their hearts. And that hatred in their hearts is what holding them back. Black people.
So you have hatred in your heart?
I had it, but it's gone now.
Okay, so...
And it doesn't start with the white people. It starts with most black men and women hate their mothers and grandmothers. And because they won't forgive them, they're living in darkness. And in that darkness, they're living in illusion. And so they've been told by the enemies of good that it's the white man, when it's really they're hating their mothers and yearning for their fathers.
So have you ever heard of Stockholm Syndrome?
Yes.
You know what that is?
Yes.
What is it?
It's when Patty Davis was captured by the Black Panthers, and they tortured her, and she began to hate them. And once she began to hate them, she identified with them and started supporting them.
Okay.
And so you become attracted to what you hate.
You talking like Patty Hearst right now?
How's that?
Because you loving the oppressor. Now, is our nation being oppressed right now?
No, not by white people.
Who are we getting oppressed by then?
Black people.
I don't understand.
You know what I think we need to do? We need to start teaching our children the same thing that they are teaching their children. They're teaching their children to white people. They're teaching them how to be from a small age. And our little white children are growing up and going out into this world not prepared, feeling guilty, thinking that there's something wrong with them. And I know that it probably sounds a little out there, but our little one, they need to be prepared what could happen to them in certain situations. These people say they're the ones that live in fear, and they're the ones that are scared, and there's all these sundown towns, and everyone's against them, when we all actually know the truth. And our kids and our family members and just people that are not aware of what's really out there working against us, they need to know. And don't feel bad for going to people that you love and care about and saying, hey, don't go to these big festivals in cities. Don't go where there are large groups of these people. Don't go there, because you don't know what could happen. Because I'll tell you this right now, when I do have grandkids, I'm going to make sure that they don't have an ounce of white. I'm going to make sure that they know that they have done nothing wrong, and not to let anyone in this world convince them that they are less than anyone else due to their...
I think that that's fair. I do. I genuinely think that that's fair, because what we've been witnessing over the last 10, 20, 30 years is there's been so much white guilt, and it absolutely aggravates me when I see that. And one of the reasons why it aggravates me is because when I see all of these people running around with white guilt that has never actually experienced or done anything to anybody else, or they weren't a part of being a slave owner or something like that. When I see these people running around, usually what they do is they just enable bad behavior. And what happens is they start to become overly liberal, because they are looking to be an apologist. They're looking to make other people feel good. And it's so fake, and it's weak, and it's phony. And instead of people being able to take ownership and a responsibility for their circumstance, we just enable other people to continue to hate more. Now, that does not mean that there is no white people that are racist. Does not mean that there are no black people.
So I know I sound like a broken record, as I keep saying over and over, that we need to hold ourselves accountable, because if not, we are going to fail miserably as the years move on. And by 2065, we're going to really hit a level that we've never seen before. Because once, like I stated earlier, we're going to be fourth in population. And you got to really think about it. We were second in population. Then the Civil Rights Act, where Martin Luther King really set us up for failure. And, because he was a Marxist. And the liberals were able to implement their socialist agenda on us, whereby they have us now depending on government, and we all know when government is involved, not everything works out well. And so this is why I think the founding fathers wanted to separate government from states and so forth, and keeping government out of our lives. But instead, liberals made blacks more dependent on the government, and now we're just a total wreck. Okay, we can't read or do math at grade level. We lead in prison population, even though we're only 13%. We have the most abortions, like more than four times that of white women. So that is troubling. Okay, we have the lowest graduation rate as far as getting a bachelor's. We high school dropout. We lead in the high school dropout. What else can I talk about? I mean, the list goes on our failures, and you know, we can't sit down and think we're gonna be rich by being just basketball players, football players, rappers, actors. No, we need to be able to get to own our own business, be the CEO. I mean, real success. Not saying that being a basketball player and so forth is not real success. What I'm saying is that we that's all we look at as far as success is these athletes and rappers and so forth, and we idolize the bad music that they're playing. Okay, we idolize it as if, rapping about shooting and all this other stuff is our way of life. Blacks talk about we need our own land. I would hate to see that, because that place would look like a jungle. It would be a total disaster. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think about, my thoughts. You can leave a comment below. I'm always willing to respond. And just let's be honest with each other. I understand that some won't like what I'm saying because, they'll probably call me an Uncle Tom or something, but sit back and really look at the big picture. Are blacks successful, and are whites really oppressing blacks, keeping them from succeeding? Okay? When it comes to slavery, and things like that, are we still, do blacks still have that mentality that, that we are still slaves, even though they have no idea what slavery is like? They have no idea about oppression, because black people today are probably some of the most privileged people on the planet. And yet they don't even see it. Or they see it, but they just want to play dumb. So let me know what you think. I'm about to get ready to go. And I really enjoy doing these videos. Please remember, like, subscribe, share this channel. I hope to see more viewers, and I hope to get more interaction with you, so that way we can have real discussions and not just somebody say something and you can't even respond to them. I will do my best to respond back to as many as possible. You guys have a great day, and I hope to see you on my next video. On that note, peace.